Christian Parenting.
Hey parents, Easter is almost here. Can you even believe it? If you're looking for a meaningful way to deepen your kids' relationship with God while making their Easter baskets extra special this year, Christian Parenting has something just for you. We are offering an Easter bundle that you and your kids are going to love. As a mom or a dad, you're going to love it because all of Christian Parenting's resources are biblically sound and trusted. And your kids are going to love it because these products are fun, they're colorful, special, and they were made with your kids in mind. They will grow in their faith and feel loved, encouraged, seen, and known. This Easter bundle includes God's Holy Spirit and Me, which is an interactive 20-day devotional for kids ages 6 to 12, that explores what it means to have God's Spirit working in their lives. It also has scripture affirmation cards, which are 25 cards packed with truths from God's Word to remind your kids of their identity in Christ and give them confidence every day. And it also includes noteworthy prayers, which are customizable cards with prayers, scripture, and space for you to write personal notes of encouragement just for your kid. These fun and faith-filled resources are now bundled for just $35. That's 20% off the full price. So don't wait, order your bundle now and make this Easter truly unforgettable for your family. You can visit cpgive.org to get your bundle today. Again, that's cpgive.org. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Christian Parenting Podcast. I'm Steph Thurling, and every week I get to talk to some amazing and wise people about faith, family, parenting, and everything in between. And I am joined by Kendra Adachi today, otherwise known as the Lazy Genius, and we are talking about compassionate time management. Her latest book is called The Plan, and it's all about this topic. It's very, very good. You're going to love what we talk about. We cover why current time management resources are really hard for women, especially moms, and how we can approach things differently. So we cover the complexities of parenting and emphasize the importance of adjusting our expectations, starting small and embracing flexibility. I know you're going to leave this conversation with some really practical steps to manage your time, but also a lot of encouragement to manage your life and family well in the present. I hope that you love this conversation with Kendra. Enjoy. Hi, Kendra. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Steph. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled to have you here. I really, seriously cannot wait for this discussion. I've been, texting everybody, being like, you guys have to read this book. It's really good. So I'm very excited to talk about all that you have to share about time management and being a parent and all those good things. But first, we have to slow down just for a second and talk a little bit about you. So can you tell us about yourself, what you do, tell us about your family, and then can you describe your family in that one word or phrase?
Yes. So my name's Kendra Adachi. Hi, everyone. Adachi is Japanese, by the way. Some people are like, what is this name? Some people think it's Italian, Adachi, but my husband is...
Oh, I guess I can... When you say it in the accent, I can hear that. Reading it, I'm like, I don't get that, but
that does not
accent,
look Italian at all. No, I have been married to my husband Kaz, who was born in Japan. He's Japanese since I was 20 years old. So we're pushing 23 years of marriage, and we have 3 kids. My oldest Sam is 15, Ben is 13, and Annie is 8. So while, I'm a wife and I'm a mother to them, it's 3 kids in 3 schools right now. So good gracious, we're doing fine.
Do they take a bus or do you drive them?
No, I drive. We do carpools. We tried the bus and had some tough experiences. And so we thought, okay, well, I guess we're just going to do this. So I'm in the car a lot, which is okay. But when I'm not a wife and a mother and a friend and just a person, my job is I write books and I have a podcast. Everything is the Lazy Genius, something I'm known on the internet as the Lazy Genius. And I consider myself an expert, so to speak, in compassionate time management, because I think that we have a lot of experts in time management. There's a lot of those out there. But I feel like there is a rigidity to a lot of what we hear about time management and productivity, especially as women and mothers in particular, just sort of holding all of these tasks and all of these roles in this invisible scaffolding of our homes. And it just feels like the advice that I would often get for years and years, it just didn't work. And I felt like I was the problem. I felt like if it didn't work, well, it's working for these other people. It's working for these authors. Like, why isn't it working for me? It must be me. And now I'm like, wait a minute, it's not me. There's a whole structure that doesn't take into account my experience or my desire to be compassionate towards myself over being productive. So I love talking about compassionate time management with women in particular, because I think we need that the most. And so right now, I would describe my family, like right now, I would describe it as chaotic. But my actual family, our family life is chaotic. My family, I would say in one word, is authentic. Everyone is so themselves, which also creates some tricky parenting situation.
Yeah, they have to go and be different.
Listen. But I do love that. I feel like everyone is very, very authentic in our home. So there's a lot of open nerves. No, there's a lot of like inside out skin because everyone is just themselves, which I love. But it's it creates an interesting dynamic sometimes, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you said your family life is chaotic, but your family's authentic. Like that was a good differentiation. I don't think I've ever had anyone do that before, but I liked it.
Well, I'm glad. Look
at you. First for everything. Okay, I want to go back to a little bit of what you were talking about with time management and being a mom and all of the things that go into that. Like, let's start talking about why so many time management plans make you frustrated and feel like a failure and just don't work.
Right. Well, at the risk, sometimes this is my disclaimer. I love talking about time management. I think a lot of what we've been given over the years from authors is deeply helpful, but there's a sense of incompleteness in the tools that we have been given. And the reason for that, I believe, is because 93% of time management books historically are written by men. And then 70 to 90% of time management books are read by women. And that is just a pretty strong discrepancy in life experience and roles and all of the things. So it's, when you look at it, it's like, it kind of makes sense that if I have been given these tools by people who don't live my life at all, like they don't see the world the same way. They don't, I mean, the invisible, the things that, the invisible labor that a mother in particular does is just, it's really something. I mean, my husband is delightful and I feel like we are such equal partners and we have a great division of labor and all the things. And even he has no idea of all the things that have to exist in my head. Like when I go out of town for work, it's shocking how much I'm like, oh man, all of this is in my head. I had no idea that so much of what we do is in my head. So it's just a lot that women and mothers manage. There's also a piece, because this is true of people who are not parents, and this is true of men as well. There's also a piece of the time management industry that perhaps has a goal that is different than the people who are listening to this podcast right now. And the goal that I have identified over years of the most popular time management books is a goal essentially of greatness of some kind. It is an ideal life. It is a manufactured, let's put all of this into place and work our way to this invisible future that we're trying to create. It is optimization at all costs. It is having every single day build on itself to level up your life. We feel like we're supposed to constantly be leveling up and becoming like better and better and better. And I don't think that is the way that a lot of people desire to live. I think especially people who are Christians or do have some sort of faith in their life, because ultimately our greatness is not the thing. And there's so many pictures in scripture of like small things and daily bread. And that is really in direct opposition to the energy behind most of the time management advice that we get. So if you put those two things together, if most of what we get is from dudes who like are doing their best and it's fine, but it's a different lived experience, if most of what we're getting is from dudes and from dudes who care so much about greatness, it's no wonder that we're like, well, this is not working because it's not for you and you have a different goal. That's why. The problem is not you. The problem is you need a completely different paradigm.
Yeah. I feel like we should just know that. But we don't. Like, we don't actually, like that when you say it like that, I'm like, that is so obvious. Why don't I just know that information? But there's so much freedom in that information. Like, why am I sitting here? Because I read them all. I read them all.
Yeah.
Like, why am I reading these books, trying them, and then being super hard on myself when they don't work? Like, why am I trying to put myself in a box that wasn't made for me?
Yeah.
And I do.
Yeah.
I get a lot done during the day. I manage a lot. Like, I have 3 kids too. Everyone who's listening to this podcast does a lot during the day. But like, the truth is, we are moms or dads, or we have houses to manage and jobs to do. And I feel like I could go off on it for a really long time. So
yeah,
I'll be quiet, but like,
well, no, you're right. Like, you're not alone in that. There are a couple of things that contribute to that. I think it is not just in our productivity, like it really is in the makeup of our country. There's a lot of like it's beautiful things like potential and hustle and follow your dreams. There's this sort of like up and out movement that we all are expected to have. And then when you sort of lay that over top of kind of where we are from a technological standpoint, it just becomes like my life, our ordinary small lives become less and less attractive because of the world we live in. And we're told that they're less and less attractive. And so it really, in many ways, is countercultural. And when you're swimming in the water, when you're breathing the air, it's all around you. It's in television commercials. If people still watch TV, I do. They're like, it's just all over the place. It's in conversations that you have with people and you don't even catch it. I have done various events with Q&As and stuff. There's a phrase that comes up so often and almost always with moms. And it is the phrase, how do I make the most of da da da? How do I make the most of this free hour without my children around? How do I make the most of when my kid is home because I have a full-time job as well as a parent? There's this energy of trying to emotionally capitalize on all of these moments that we actually these people we care about deeply. And that phrase even, make the most of, that's through that lens of greatness and leveling up and all of it. It's like, I want us to have a lens of contentment and just like I'm going to be a person right now. I want to be an integrated, whole, grounded person. I know who I am. I know that in this moment, making the most of something is not the expectation or the goal. I'm just going to be myself here. And I'm going to be content. I'm going to see the good that is in this moment. There's just a relaxation. That's one of the most common things, common responses that I get from people. I get emails and DMs all the time. And people are like, I'm only 10 pages in and I feel like I've lost 10 pounds. Like I've lost 10 emotional pounds because it just feels like this doesn't have to feel so heavy anymore. We just carry a heaviness that I don't think we realize we're carrying because of that lens. And it's okay to be content with smallness right now and to focus on humanity more than productivity. Like those are good things. Those are good things, but they're not things that we're taught or praised for or affirmed in or all of that.
Yeah. Or like even just hardwired for. Some of us are just hardwired to just want to be productive, And so that's hard too. Cause then you're like, how do I manage all of this? And it's but it's a lot. No matter how you're wired, no matter where you live or how old your kids are, it is just a lot.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about the plan because it stands for something. Tell us, like, what is the plan and what does that mean for a busy parent?
Yeah. So the name of my book is The Plan, and PLAN is an acronym, which is super fun because I have an English degree, so I love using an acronym. Basically, the way that we have been taught to manage our time is highly, highly focused on preparation. It's like you make your list on the night before and you like all of it is just you get all the things in your place and then you like press a big red start button and then everything sort of goes. And if something breaks midway, your plan failed. Mm-hmm. Or you didn't foresee that scenario well enough or, whatever. And that's why a lot of people who are perhaps not as hardwired to be quote unquote organized in the traditional sense feel bad. They're like, well, I'm just not an organized person. And I think all of that is untrue. So the PLAN acronym, it's actually set up as like a visual framework as a pyramid. And so if we throw like a triangle on the floor, that's the base of our pyramid. And everything that we choose to do in terms of how we're managing our time and our energy every day is based on what matters most to us in the season of life that we are in. And if you have children, you know that those seasons shift very quickly and they shift your priorities big time. I have 3 kids. Like I said, I have 3 kids in 3 schools. And my boys are older, and so they've got more extracurriculars and things that sort of sneak up last minute, because they're more social and they're becoming more independent. So our like a regular life rhythm doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like things just pop up all the time. There's a lot of responsiveness. And so it's a new season. So if I expect in that new season of life that every single night we're going to have dinner at the exact same time together, that's just an unreasonable expectation for this season of life. So what matters now is when we are together, let's be together. Let's be intentional about being together. And for me, what matters in this season is to be flexible and less rigid, because I can tend to be pretty rigid naturally. So anyway, so the basis of this pyramid is what matters most in your season. Then the three sides of it, the three triangles that are in equal measure of each other, everybody, are the P, A, and N in plan. Prepare, adjust, and notice. We are taught to prepare, prepare, prepare. There is very little teaching or encouragement for us to make adjustments on the fly and for that to be okay. For us to notice what's happening in our bodies or what's happening emotionally in the room, or to be like, you know what, that's not working. I thought that would work well and it didn't. So I'm noticing that. So let's make a small adjustment. Like everything is all or nothing in most time management teachings, or we at least internalize it as such. If you are a person who buys a planner in January and then you're like, this is the one, this is going to do it. And then it doesn't do it. And so you buy another planner and you start over. You copy everything back over. Or it's like big chore chart energy, or I call it big black trash bag energy, where you're like, everything's going out this house. We are starting over. There's like this sort of burn it down kind of energy that we bring. And that is because we have been programmed to only focus on preparation. And so if your preparation does not work, you got to start from scratch, baby. And that is just not realistic or practical or even human. Instead, we need preparation and adjustment and noticing existing together in equal measure. They are all equally important to one another. And then the L in plan, which is the point of the pyramid and the point of the whole thing, is to live. That's our whole point here, is to live, is to be a person where we are and to be with our people. And I heard this quote by Russ Ramsey just a few days ago: beautify the garden that you tend, just where you are. Just make it as beautiful as you can, but by your own measuring stick, like we don't have to just be at the mercy of preparation, and get everything ready. And we want to expand what it means to plan. And planning is all three of those. It's preparation, adjusting, and noticing. So that's the gist of the book. And I think it's a very freeing framework, especially for people who either lean so heavily on preparation that they feel like they're about to burn out, and they need to know that it's okay, that they don't have to prepare for everything. And then for the folks who are like, well, I'm not very organized, but I can walk in a room and sense like what's going on. That there's like an intuition there. Like we all are good at one of those. Every single person is naturally gifted at one of those three things. And so to embrace that and cultivate that, and then know that like, well, I can cultivate the others too, expands our definition of what it means to be a planner.
Yeah. What's the one that you're good at?
Preparation. Which, to be honest, kind of sucks, because it's like when we're the people who are reading all the books, it's because we're depending on that as what we think is going to save us and take away all the chaos and all the stress, and we're not going to be thrown by anything. And so we kind of keep throwing more preparation at it. And it stinks for people who are naturally wired at preparation, because you probably have been affirmed for a long time at being good at this, but you're afraid that if it fails, it's literally a failure, and maybe you are too. When really a plan is just an intention you make. It's not a pass-fail situation. You just intended for this thing to happen, and it didn't. Most of the time, it won't. Like, let's be honest. So yeah, we need it to be stretchier. Like planning is not so rigid. It needs to be more fluid and human and stretchy.
Yeah. I think that's why I love your emphasis on adjustment so much. I think that's so relevant, especially for parents, because every single day with kids is different. Even if you are in a phase where like you kind of have a very routine schedule, every single day looks completely different schedule wise. And then you have like different personalities too. Yeah. And so everyone feels different every day. How
old are your kids?
13, 10, and 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just all over it all the time too.
And hormones are coming. It's like you move from
wild,
like diapers and naps to hormones. And it's like, you don't catch a break. Like just all of a sudden you're in this you're exactly right. It's a new version of not every day is the same. It's just maybe different in different ways than it was in a different season. It's pretty wild.
And I love, so you talk about like 3 things to consider, 3 mindsets to consider when you're thinking about like adjusting things. And it's match your expectations to the energy you're willing to give.
Yeah.
Which yes, now isn't forever. And you're allowed to change your mind.
That's right.
And I want to talk about those 3 things because I think there's so much power in that mindset. Because I think as parents, we have an idea of the type of parent we want to be when we have our kids. I was going to be a very patient, amazing parent. Like my kids were going to eat all the food.
Of course they were.
All the food. Yes. And we were going to have a lot of structure, which is hilarious because I am not a structured person. But my kids were going to be. And then they came and here we are.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And then they came.
Yeah, you can't plan when they come necessarily. They just come.
That's like, I feel like that's parenting in a nutshell. And then they came. And here we are.
I don't know. We're doing the best we can.
That's right.
But we've had to make some adjustments.
That's right.
And expectations. So let's talk about those 3 things a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I remember the first time that I said, match your expectations to the energy you're willing to give. It was in a podcast episode before I even wrote this book. And the emails and DMs that came from that one phrase, it just like hit everybody across the head. Because what we do is if we set some sort of goal, which like, again, that's another thing that's in the water, right? Is we're always trying to level up and make this thing better. Sometimes that's beautiful. If it's in an area that matters to you, it's always good to examine, is this really what I want? That's a separate conversation. But when something isn't working, we like try to hack our energy to make it work rather than like adjusting our expectations. My favorite example of this, because it happens every 4 years, or really every 2 years, but whenever the Olympics are on, and I see these athletes doing these incredible things with their bodies, and I'm like, man, I should work out more. And I have this expectation that like, I'm going to be I'm going to have an Olympic level athlete body when I'm like, do I have the energy to go out for like a walk around the block? I don't know if I do. Maybe and yet I'm like, how do I, and then we spend all this time on the internet. Like, what are the best things to do with the dumbbells that have been collecting dust under my bed for 5 years? Like we're putting energy in the wrong part of that sentence. We're putting all of this effort into hacking our energy when really we need to adjust our expectations probably, because are we willing to give it? And also an addendum, are we able to give it? Sometimes our season of life, we do have the willingness, but our season of life does not really give us the ability. And so to me, that is a very kind approach to when things aren't really working and you need to make an adjustment. Maybe adjust your expectation as opposed to your energy.
Do you have a child who struggles with a specific subject in school? Or do you have a child who's ahead and just not getting challenged enough in the classroom? For either of those kids and anyone in between, you should go check out IXL Learning. I've talked about it before in this podcast, and it's worth talking about it again because I really believe in this program. IXL Learning is an online learning program that enriches your homeschool curriculum and classroom education for your kids. It offers practice in math, English, language arts, science, and social studies while adapting to each child, meeting them exactly where they are for what they need. Plus, IXL encourages students to be curious and empowers them to choose how to learn. And the best part is, IXL is so easy for parents. One site gets you everything you need, and IXL customizes learning for each child and their needs. Everything on IXL is organized by grade, subject, topic, and then subtopic, so it's simple to find activities for the exact skills that you are covering. And IXL offers instant feedback and explanations of new topics as kids use the program, so you can feel confident that your kids will gain an understanding of the skills that they're learning. You can make an impact on your child's learning and get IXL now. And Christian Parenting Podcast listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/today. Visit IXL.com/today to get the most effective learning program out there at the very best price. Yeah. So start small. Like instead of being like, I am going to start working out and I'm going to go 7 days a week for an hour at a time. Like that's very aggressive.
Oh my gosh.
So maybe just go on a walk every
Right.
day and then go to the gym twice or something.
Listen, I started as small as humanly possible. I tell this story in my first book, In the Lazy Genius Way, because start small is one of the 13 lazy genius principles. And so in that chapter, I was like, I want to do yoga because it really actually mattered to me because I have like crazy joints and I need to stretch and stuff. And I couldn't figure out why being like, I'm going to do yoga 3 times a week for 30 minutes. I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure it out. And then I went, okay, we got to start like so embarrassingly small. And I did 1 down dog every day. That's how small. But it eventually, and I'm talking eventually like years, grew into like a 5-minute yoga practice every day. But it's still doing it. It's still being there with it. So yeah, starting small is like, you don't need these big swoops. You don't need this big black trash bag energy. One tiny thing, man.
Okay, tell us about big black trash bag energy because I am like so guilty of that.
It's not guilty. There's no guilt there. It's just one of those things. Yeah, it's not guilty.
I mean, I think every parent has
I don't even have to. Honestly, I don't even think I have to explain it. I think I could just say big black trash bag energy and you're like, yeah, I know what that is.
Throw everything away. Throwing it all away.
It's when we get, and we do it with our stuff, but we also do it with our systems. We do it with our relationships sometimes. We have been programmed in many, many ways, and we don't know it is happening. Once you see it now, you'll see it everywhere. But we have been programmed that everything is supposed to work. Like everything's just supposed to roll. And if something is not working, rather than making one small adjustment to be like, I wonder if this will work, we have this expectation that we have to start over because of this sort of process, again, that we've been taught where every single day is building on the next day and building on the next day to create this ideal future that we're trying to reverse engineer. And so if something is not working, well, clearly that's not the right system. So we need to start over because we got to start building again. We got to build in the right direction. That is false. I believe that is false. That is not what most people need at all. And so, but that's what we do is we get overwhelmed by there's too many toys in the house. There's too much paper in the bin that we just can't find time to sort through. And,
markers. I've thrown away markers.
My gosh,
I'm like, why did I do that? Now I have to go buy new markers.
Listen, big black trash bag energy always leaves you with errands every single time. It's like sad people and errands. And there's never an option where that does not happen. But like a version might be when this has happened to me before, where I'm overwhelmed with my calendar. There's too many items on my Google Calendar. So I color code everything to think maybe that's going to help me. It's like, well,
make it less.
We got to scrap what's here. We got to start all over. We're going to reprogram everything in colors. No, just go take a nap. It's really what you need. Go take a nap and then come back and you can make one small adjustment in a direction that matters to you, but you don't have to fix everything right now, which leads to that second principle for adjusting, which is now isn't forever. Like, I think that's as a parent, holy moly, if you're in a hard season of parenting, I mean, I remember when my boys are 2 years apart. And Sam, my oldest, this is not hyperbole, everyone. This is real. He did not sleep for longer than 15 minutes at a time until he was 18 months.
I had one of those.
Old. How did we make it?
I don't know.
How did we even make it? Like
I very basically didn't.
And like part of that, I was pregnant with the next one. And I just, like, when I look back at her, at my sweet new mom, tiny baby's self, I was so overwhelmed by where I was and thought, it's going to always be like this. Like, thinking about it makes me want to cry. Like, it was so hard. It was so hard. And when your day is like, even though we talk about how every day is different, certain seasons also simultaneously are very Groundhog Day-ish, where you're like, what is happening? Like, I've done this 17,000 times already. And yet it's still different. You can't predict what everyone's going to do. And so in those seasons, it really does feel like I'm going to be here forever. I'm going to be here forever. So to remind yourself, like, now isn't forever. Now isn't forever, but it is now. It's not like an escape. It's not running away. There's freedom there to go, you know what? Now isn't forever, but it is now. Or the things that I have to choose to do right now to kind of survive in this time, I'm not going to choose forever. And that's okay. But I do need to choose them right now. And that's going to be okay. Like, to be compassionate and expect that that's part of being a person, is you have to make choices to support where you are in this moment, in this season. It's so important. And then the third one is you're allowed to change your mind. Because I think when we make adjustments, we think if we make a choice and then it doesn't work, or we're like, oh, this is the way, this is what it's going to be. And then we're like, actually, no, it's not. We kind of feel like we failed by changing our mind. You know, that we're letting ourselves down. We're not very disciplined. We're not actually in touch with what matters to us. No, guys, no. Like changing your mind is just part of being a person. There's no moral value to changing your mind. So you're allowed to do that, like to have some freedom and like, yeah, we're going to do something different. Actually, that's okay. There's a lightness to all three of those things.
Yeah. I think about when I went back to work full time and all of a sudden I went from being primarily at home working like for myself part-time to working for somebody else 40 hours a week. And I had to adjust so many things because at first what I was trying to do was follow all of the time management plans and do everything I was doing before plus my new job. And I was just going to like hack my energy and get it all done. And I was going to do it great.
Right?
And
of course you were.
I did not. Spoiler alert. I did not. It was a process and I had to adjust a lot of things. And some of those things weren't fun. Like I had to say no, knowing that it wasn't forever. Like I didn't spend a ton of time with my friends because I was like, all the energy I have to be with my kids and my husband right now. Like all the extra time, this is where I need to be. And then it wasn't forever. It changed. And my friends were just like, hey, yeah, let's hang out again. You know, like we knew what you were doing. Like no one was offended because they understood where I was because they're good friends. But I just had to remind myself like it's not forever because seasons change and you have to adjust. Because now I've figured out how to do some things. I've hacked my energy, if you will. I haven't. I've just figured it out.
Well, and then
for now.
Exactly, for now. Because I think that's the other thing is that's why the foundation of this whole framework, this whole plan framework is what matters to you right now in this season, because there's an expectation built in there that it's not always going to be that way, that things are what matters will change. The season of life will change. And that is a natural part of life. That's not a failure. That's not a giving up. That's not settling. It's just part of the rhythm of life. And so it's, every time you live in a season, which live in your season is another one of the 13 Lazy Genius principles. When you sort of commit to that and you're like, you know what, I am going to be here now. And it's either everything is a mix of all of it, right? It's beauty and it's like, holy moly, get me out of here. And so, but when you live in your season, it's almost like you're building the muscles of you're trusting yourself that like, okay, I'm going to make these choices here. And we're going to make these choices as a family. And we're going to show ourselves that we can say no and we can prioritize in the places that matter. And we can make these adjustments when the next season comes. We're going to do it again. And there's not a like, we're going to get it wrong sometimes. It's just more like, we're going to figure things out. You know, it's like this maybe works and this one doesn't, but it's not like this is right or wrong. I feel like we just put too much moral value on how we manage our time. Yeah. We got to take those lenses off. It's just like, let's just be here now. Just be where you are now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So for parents who are listening and they're like, I'm going to take one small step or make one tiny adjustment, like what would your advice of where to start or encouragement be for people who are like, okay, manageable, I can do this?
Yeah. So there's one, I'm going to give one that's like super practical and then one that's a little more like
practical,
heartfelt. The practical one, one of the other, a favorite Lazy Genius principle is decide once. People love decide once. This is not anything new, everyone. This is not a new idea. Decide once is just make one decision about one thing and then just keep doing it until it doesn't work anymore. Like just make that decision one time. So Taco Tuesday is a perfect example of a decide once. It's like, I don't have to think about that anymore. We have tacos on Tuesday, or we have spaghetti, we have pasta on Mondays, or pizza on Fridays. I would say if there is a place in your life that just feels like I cannot make another decision. Y'all can't see, but I wear glasses and I just lifted my glasses off my face and like those times where you put your hands over your eyes where you're like, I just can't. I cannot do this again. Is there a place in there where you can decide once? You can go, this is what we're doing. And you just keep doing it. And you don't think about it anymore until it's done, until it doesn't work anymore. So that's one thing that is applicable in like all over the place in home management and parenting. One that's like, because we love practical, we love formulas, we love hacks, we love all those things because they make us feel like we're a little bit more in control and they're easier to sort of cross off. And while that's beautiful, I do think that perhaps that falls on a softer place when our perspective is softer. One of the phrases, this is in the plan as well, but one of the phrases that I use all the time in my own life that's just been really transformational is good is here right now. When we get overwhelmed by where we are, which is every day in having children. I can't remember the last day that I didn't feel overwhelmed by something whether it was a kid's behavior or my own response to that kid's behavior, or the fact that everybody is asking me a question at the same time, or all the things, right? When we feel overwhelmed, it's so easy to see what's wrong, what we're frustrated by, what we wish were different. We can resent very quickly. We can detach very quickly. And I think the antidote to that, for me personally, is to always consider there is good here right now. Even if the good is that my kids are yelling at each other and I'm not yelling back at them, or that I do yell back at them and I repair after. And I go, I shouldn't have yelled. I'm so sorry I yelled. Will you forgive me for yelling? Let's all try to figure out how we can talk about this with maybe quieter voices or kinder voices or whatever. I don't know, like insert your own situation. But good is here right now I really mean this. It has been a transformative statement for me because I mean, this is a Christian parenting podcast. This is not something that is not every listener to every podcast I'm on or even to my own would take it to this step, right? But goodness is a fruit of the Spirit. God is a God of goodness. And we are, like, if you think about how God looks at us and he sees goodness because of Jesus, because of what Jesus did. But like, there's so much, I just think about all the beauty all over the place that God did not have to give us. There's just goodness everywhere. There's goodness in like the smile of the Target cashier and the fact that somebody waves you over when you're stress driving and they didn't try to cut you off, or that you did that to someone else, or goodness in your kids laughing at a joke together in the back of the car. And you're like, look at that. That's so sweet. Like those, like having eyes, almost like treasure hunting for those, like that is what I want to see. To me, it grounds me where I am better than anything else. It's just like, this, like I just said with the garden thing, this is the garden that I've been given to tend. Mm. And seeing those little moments of beauty in that garden makes me want to be there more, even amongst the weeds and the work and the dirt under the fingernails and all the things. So that would be the one piece of advice, is to remember that good is here right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think that also can be very practical. You said it was heartfelt, but I think it's practical. So to actually like stop and take a breath, and like when your kids are fighting, to be like, there's goodness here right now. Just like say that in your mind and then look and be like, because the more you see it, the more you're going to notice. The more you notice, the more you're going to see it. The more you see, the more you notice.
Absolutely.
So it's a practice for sure. But I think there's a lot of power in that. So I appreciate you sharing that. But thank you for being on.
Yeah,
thank you for all of your wisdom. I would love for you to wrap us up and just share, what is one thing that you want every parent to know?
That there's not one way to do this. We get caught up in, am I doing this right? The spectrum is wide. There's many ways to be a parent. Many seasons where our parenting requires sort of different versions of us, where our kids need different things. And so to sort of release the expectation that there's one right way, there's not. There's presence and right now, and trusting the Holy Spirit, and repairing when you mess up, and all of that. It's just, there's no one way to do this.
Yeah. That's when we fall into the trap of comparison too, right? Looking at the other parent, be like, "Ooh, they're better. I should be like them."
No, you shouldn't. No, you don't need that at all. You got enough. You got enough in your brain. You don't need to throw in other people's ways that they're doing stuff. That's too. Yep. We all do it. We do.
But we do.
It's a nice reminder to release that. That doesn't need to exist at the table.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Can you tell us how we can connect with you, where we can get your book, all of the things, so that people can find you, and I can put in show notes?
Absolutely. So I've got 3 books, The Lazy Genius Way, which is the 13 Lazy Genius Principles, The Lazy Genius Kitchen, which applies those principles to our most used room that most of us are like, get me out of here. I'm in here so much. So it's not a cookbook. It's a way of kind of being in your kitchen and enjoying it again and making it work in a way that works for you. And then the plan is, a book about compassion and time management. You can get those anywhere you get books. They're at a lot of libraries. You can order them online. You can request them from your local indie. If they're not there, that would be lovely. And then I have a podcast, the Lazy Genius Podcast, episodes on Mondays. We're in the 40s, I think now, of episodes maybe. So there's a lot. They're all short and the titles are very specific. So it's an easy thing to scroll through and find what you need. But everything, books, podcast, link, all of it is at thelazygeniuscollective.com.
I'll get all of it linked so you can find it. But thank you so much for being on. I think this is such a helpful conversation and such an encouragement to parents. And I just really appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. I have links to find Kendra's book, The Plan, and to connect with her and listen to her podcast and all those things in show notes. I hope that you have a wonderful week. May God bless you and your family, and may you see His goodness in every moment of your day, not just in the good moments, but in every moment, because He is present in all of them and His character is good. May you see His blessings in new ways this week.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.